The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Migrant stakeholders run biya birimu ebiri emisinde gigenda okubeera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku Sande nga 2 October tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo n'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namave ne Shell Biwagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo, Oro na bikutusima office ya President kusonga semitana wa Mayanja, Yuera, ne Migrant Workers Voice, nebitegekebwa, Sinat Advertising.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here, Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
A very, very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the 29th day of September of the year 2022. My name is Roger Stoyawe and I welcome you to today's edition of the Mighty Drive, but which obviously, as usual, begins with the updates that are of issues and things and you know, news that happen in places where you cannot be or you were not at the time that it happened. No. Before we get to that, I just want to, you know, say a good morning to every one of you, our viewers, who has made it a point every single day to wake up and charge your data every single day to make sure that you are part of us, to learn a thing or two about about the current affairs as they're happening, but also that we inform each other on things that are happening. You know, the shows are not just that we tell you what is going on, but that we learn from each other. That means we have something to say, but you should also have a say in whatever is going to be discussed. And this day, we are going to be discussing about with girl and women empowerment and skilling. Where are this gender left at? Are they at a point where the society is appreciating their efforts altogether, or are we just complacent and sitting back and hoping that the world gives them a fair push as it is? But before we get to that, I'm going to just go through a little bit of updates. Obviously, we're going to begin with a presidential speech that did happen yesterday at 8 p.m. in the evening. President Museveni did speak to the nation, as he always does, especially when there's a trending and current issue that needs his, you know, direction. Now, he did speak about, among other things, mostly about Ebola. He did speak about a Parish development model, and mostly he capitalized on Ebola, really, and what has been said and what, obviously debunking what seems to have been some misinformation. He said Daily Monitor does use to portray some wrong information as to the number of people who have died, but he did confirm that we have had only 24 cases of Ebola outbreaks in districts of Kasanda, Mubende, and Chegegwa, and debunking the central one, the one that was in Kampala. Because earlier on yesterday, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Twine, did come through and said that the case that was said to have happened in Kampala of a gentleman from Kasangati was not right. The case was tested. They had samples and tested and confirmed that it was negative. It wasn't actually Ebola outbreak. And so it cancels out the Kampala region out of the list of areas and districts that have had Ebola outbreaks so far. But the president did say that Ebola is a very bad and serious disease, and so we should take caution and make sure that we are safe and our loved ones are also safe. But he said that there won't be any lockdowns for Ebola. We have suffered enough of those. And he says it's not as bad as COVID-19 because, COVID-19 was airborne. If you have been in a space where someone has COVID-19, you'll definitely get it. You don't need to have, contact with someone. Someone may just have touched a surface and left like an hour ago or so, and then you'll come and touch the same surface and get COVID-19. He says, fortunately, Ebola does not spread like that. It's not airborne. It just goes through contact, and mostly, he emphasized the body openings mostly. He says if for example, you touch someone and you touch your nose or your mouth or your eyes, it is highly likely that you'll get Ebola. But even if it's on your skin, if you don't touch it and touch any of your body openings, it is possible that you will not get Ebola. So he emphasized that we need to take caution. Please don't touch surfaces, or if you do, please make sure you wash your hands with your detergents and stuff like that. He also said that it mostly spreads, it kills through the high temperatures and vomiting. Obviously, when you vomit so much, it means that you're going to lose a lot of body fluid. So if you don't take so much of those, it is possible that you will die. He says that if you get any of the signs of Ebola, please make sure that you run to a nearest hospital and make sure you are there, because at least for the doctors, they know what to do. For you, you might get signs, even if you know you have Ebola. You may not know what exactly you need to do. But if you have a professional, a healthy professional at that, they will know what needs to be done. They will try to, control it. And at the end of the day, you might have, a chance to live. He says, there's no vaccine. He did mention that there's no vaccine for this Sudan strain specifically. But he says it is being under testing. The medicine is undergoing testing. But he says it can be, given to people anyway, even when it's still in testing. I personally don't think that is a good idea, but he says that they can give it to people even if it's still undergoing test. And he says he will come back and update the nation as soon as the medicine is available. He says we can really control that. He did mention that as people who have been revolutionaries, he has a lot of tactics, and he has faith that we shall obviously overcome this particular problem as it stands. Obviously, he did mention the fact that Daily Monitor works for the enemy. I don't know who the enemy is, but apparently Daily Monitor works for the enemy, and so I hope that we don't look at that. We just get the information, get what is factual, leave the issues of the enemy to the enemy, and go with what is the factual information. Now, moving on, he did also mention about the parish development model, and he said that 100 million has already been disbursed to every parish already. And so it means that I think he says the focuses are majorly on farmer circles and stuff like that. But he says he did mention the fact that local leaders should only supervise and monitor the activities of these circles. Now, we have had a problem of the local leaders being the custodians, the landlords. They will tell you this and so will get the money, so and so will not get the money. But he says they are not in position to decide who gets the money and who does not. Their role is and only is to supervise and monitor. Two things, supervise and monitor. It's only for the role of the local leaders, but not to decide who gets the parish development model. Now, we have had, a number of these over time. We have had the Myogas, the Wanabagagawales, name them. There are just quite a number of those. But we have not really realized the reason for what they are there. And I hope that today, this time, we have had some good, look through and understand the problem, mostly of which has been management problems. So I hope that we have addressed the problem of management, and that parish development model does benefit the local people at that. Now, moving on from the presidential address, which happened last night, NEMA threw out Hoima sugar off the Bugoma forest land. Now, if you remember very well, in 2020, which was I think around July, of 2020, NEMA leased about 9 square miles of Bugoma forest to this Hoima Sugar for sugarcane plantation. Now, part of the land was 312 hectares, was also gazetted for an urban center construction, 520 hectares for an ecotourism center to be built in this particular area, 40 hectares for a culture site, and about 6 square miles reserved for the natural forest of Bugoma. Now, if you remember, there had been outcry over, putting a natural forest out for sugarcane plantation, and obviously prioritizing money and profit over the lives of the people and the endangered species at that. Now, if you've heard the environmentalists, I think there was even a case by the Environmental Shield over the Bugoma forest, and wanting the court to decide to throw out Hoima Sugar off this area. Now, following inspection of the activities in Changwali specifically, there was after the investigation, they showed that there had been deforestation in the ecotourism center. And that means that the Hoima Sugar did encroach on part of the land that was not supposed to be theirs. And they did actually some deforestation activities there. And so for that, NEMA responded by withdrawing their certificate that it had given out to this place, citing, not following the rules and procedures that were put in place. Obviously, where there are those kind of agreements, there are usually contracts or some kind of sort of those. And so there are usually rules that are written down. So if the rules are written down, it means that all the parties should be adhering to such rules, especially when some of these issues are in the public interest. There had been also the quarrel of the land, where does Bugoma Forest belong, others saying it belongs to the Kingdom of Bunyoro, and some people wanting to also take ownership and say that this is my land. Part of it at least is a personal land and stuff like that. But government says, as the Constitution obviously stipulates, where there's a natural reserve, put there, it is the government that is holding it on behalf of the people. And so that is what is happening in that particular regard in particular area. So I hope that Hoima Sugar does respect that, but that NEMA as one does not always prioritize just money over natural resources. There's a lot of things we do benefit from these kind of natural resources, and especially given that we are at a time where climate change is wreaking havoc across the world, we need some of these things. Natural forest that does a lot of stuff with especially pollution. It helps us to give us the oxygen and fresh air, and to sequestrate those kind of pollutions to make the environment a little bit livable. And so I hope that in future they don't just lease out our land to people who are just going to cut off the natural forest just for their own benefits and profits, even if it gives us some bit of money. I don't think the money we get from Hoima Sugar really is that much that we should sacrifice some natural resource as dear as a forest at that. Now, moving on from that particular area, I will go to Kasita. Yesterday did petition the Parliament and this Deputy Speaker of Parliament over unfair trade conditions, especially taxes, both from government and URA specifically, and the banks charging exorbitant fees, and are citing that most of the people's businesses, especially after the lockdown and COVID-19, the people are losing their businesses. The banks are auctioning people's buildings because they had put it in collateral to get money to do business. And now the Kasita, which is Kampala City Traders Association, led by their chairman, went to Parliament to say that the government needs to respond, to sit in these issues, to try to address, provide some incentives, and make sure that people and traders are really in position to thrive in businesses. Because as they thrive, the government gets taxes, but the government should not get taxes at the expense of the businesses of people. And in the long run, you'll see more people, poor people, and as a country, as a third world, and as a president has wanted us to move from the people who just make money to eat every day. I think it is in order that they stand and look at the business and the prospects of thriving. Now, about a fortnight ago, I did host some young people here to look at the life expectancy of SMEs, small and medium enterprise businesses in Uganda, in Africa generally, but particularly in Uganda. And if you look at statistics, obviously most of the business don't actually celebrate their first anniversaries. Part of the reason has been, among others, that the taxes are so high. You operate in an environment that is not really friendly, and the government does not really openly or usually give out incentives for some of these natural startups. So most of the incentives usually have gone to the foreign investors, more usually who are the people who actually have the capacity to pull off these businesses. But the people who need some push, a bit of push from the government in form of incentives, has been by and large left behind. So I think it was a call to the government, as one through the Parliament and Deputy Speaker, Honorable Tashobia, that the government looks into giving some bit of incentives and reaching out to these commercial banks to make sure that there are incentives put in place. The Deputy Speaker, is Tayewa, not Tashobia, just a bit of correction there. But that is what happened in that particular regard. And going forward, at 17 minutes, there has been also, in the same issue, on environmental issues, there has been issue in western Uganda, in the districts of Hwejo, Shema and Rampara, over gold and sand mining causing environmental havoc. Now, if you've heard, Hwejo has had gold deposits, and there has been literally mining since the 1950s. Not on a large scale, but people have been by and large, mining gold here and there. You'll see people doing that, but now there are concerns, especially they were led by their leaders, that there has been environmental consequences to that. People are excavating in wetlands, and now the problem has been, mostly especially in the rainy season, that the river banks of the Rizi River have burst, and people's crops and people's belongings and agricultural sites have been destroyed just because of the consequences of mining. And so they are saying that we need to reduce a bit of that. Now, sand mining, which is encroaching on river Rizi, like I said, leads to river banks, to whatever. And now they also cited that in all these extractions of these natural resources, there has been literally no jobs for the local communities. The people, they are investors, just go in an area, dig sand and gold and just take it away, and the local people, the communities, are not really benefiting any much. And so they said there needs to be reduction. The government needs to respond, because it has been silent and kept silent for some of the time. It happens in wetlands, and it has contaminated water bodies of the communities. And obviously that has adverse effects. And so it is the same call that I reiterate, that as we want profits, as we want money, we need to also look at sustainability of our environment. The people should not be suffering at the expense of getting money, and especially in projects that don't really attract so much resources. So we need to respond in that particular regard and make sure that the environment is safe as much as we do extraction. At least try to do some mitigation, that in a way that we extract, there is some restoration that happens, or at least if it's not that beneficial anyway, just leave it altogether, so that the people's lives are not at stake, but also the environment as one is kept intact. Now, that is what I have for you at exactly 20 minutes past 7 a.m. We are going to go in for a short commercial break. When we come back, we are going to come back, myself and Lillian Luwede, with our guests. We are going to be discussing women and girl child empowerment and skilling. We want to look at how do we make it better. We have seen the statistics are not really in favor of the female gender, especially as far as empowerment is concerned. What can we do? What is the government supposed to do? What is the role of the stakeholders, and who are the stakeholders anyway? We want to understand all that and see how we can make the community much better for all of us as people. That is what I have. Let's go in for a short commercial break. We will be right back. Good morning.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digital TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
How are you beautiful Ugandans? It's your girl JITOLEZE. Welcome to the fancy floor. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape.
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
We shall be doing all this in the fancy floor. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl JITOLEZE. It is the fancy floor.
Migrant stakeholders run bili abirimu ebiri emisinde gigenda okubeera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku Sande nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudaabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namamve ne Shell Buloba. Biwagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibako ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, Uwera ne Migrant Workers Voice n'ebitegekebwa. Sinat Advertising.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
program the Mighty Drive mukubuza kwena dosinzidde okubanga otulaba abatulabira mu ggwanga n'ebitundu by'eggwanga ebyenjawulo mbaniriza
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Kaisembe nenga munange kwa edition of Mighty Drive nako kuna inafuzo mwezi wa 23 mwezi wa Septemba mwaka 2022 babuza kwena James Nzibyo kwanga mtulaba abatulabira mu ggwanga Uganda n'ebitundu by'eggwanga ebyenjawulo. Nze omumbi Jaluwedde Lilian era nga mu studios ndimu ne munnange Rogers tuli ahabwe awamu n'omugenyi waffe yamaze edda okuba nga twegattako omukulu Odhiambo Clyde. Tugenda kuba nga ate twogera ku nsonga ez'enjawulo ezikwata ku bavubuka awamu n'abakyala. Ono nno ye CEO wa JITOLEZE Foundation. So agenda kuba tubuulira foundation eno ekwatagana ku biki bye yatunuulira nga tannaba kugitandika kuba yasinziira ku kyokuba nga agitandika n'ebirala bingi nnyo betugenda okuba nga twogerako mu programu yaffe ey'olunaku luno olwaleero. So tulakalira alina ekibuuzo kyonna kyokyesa kyowabula agenda butereevu ku page yaffe eri The Alternative Uganda. Genda yatotekeyo endowooza yo mu comment section, tujja kuba nga ate tuyisoma. Kwe tuli nnyo ku mikutu emirala ku YouTube, ku Instagram, osobola okuba nga ate otufuna bulungi. Era bw'oba nga otulabye tuline ku Digital TV nagwo mukutu osobola okuba nga ate otufunirako. So mukulu Rogers kasooka atulamuseeko munnanga ate n'oluvannyuma tugende maaso ne program. Rogers.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Again, like I said earlier, it's good to have you today. And we have a gentleman who wants to talk about the business of young people, and particularly about girls. He says, I did mention that I did focus and capitalize on the fact that we will talk about empowerment of girl, child, and women, but he says he represents all young people and girl children. So it's not only specifically about women, but by and large, we're going to have a discussion around young people, empowerment as such, understand the dynamics of the society we are. Are they really empowered? And particularly ladies, because we live in a generation that is really not that forthcoming for especially the other gender. And so that is why I was actually capitalizing on those two because I feel like they need more push than the rest of us. And obviously young people, because I think we have been categorized as the marginalized. Youth and women have been categorized as the marginalized. So I want to understand today what it is, one, he is doing and his organization, what his organization is about, but also what can we do as a whole. Mr. Odhiambo, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You're welcome to the Mighty Drive.
Thank you. I'm happy to be hosted by Lilian, and I didn't hear your name.
Rogers. My name is
Rogers. I wanted the other long one.
Hey, Turiyawe, my botanical name is Turiyawe.
Turiyawe, oh.
I hope you will learn.
I'll learn it.
Okay. I'll say hello to our viewers, just a bit of who you are and what are you presenting.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Odhiambo Clyde. I think I was going to call you and say, we're driving from Busia to Kampala, so we might have jams and all this. Where we come from, there's no jam. Of course, there's some jam, but you guys are in another world. Sometimes when I was coming to Kampala a long time, I would say that Kampala is 4 hours, but now Kampala is 6 hours. Like Busia to Kampala, mwajiongeraho bawa. Twajisembeza wala. Yeah, but my name is Odhiambo Clyde. I come from Busia. I run JITOLEZE Foundation. JITOLEZE Foundation is a youth-led community-based organization. We founded with the focus of transforming the mindset of young people into better persons. So basically, we think that before we can do an intervention, we have to change our mindset. Yeah.
So JITOLEZE is young people.
No, JITOLEZE is a Swahili word.
What do you know? What does JITOLEZE?
Okay.
I don't know the Swahili.
JITOLEZE is a Swahili word. It's kind of broken Swahili, but it's more of Jagu is an Indian word meaning wake up. So like Jitole, just if I could ask that who can help me carry this phone, then Lilian says that Lilian wakes up to do it. Muswahili tunasema ati aka anajitolea, amejitolea. So we just guys who came up to support, like volunteerism, right? We're doing interventions freely, not demanding government, without funding, or most of these things, right? Okay. Yeah, with that community, maybe thank you, we are doing it. Whether they say thank you or not, we're doing it. Whether they like our page or don't like it, we're doing it. We're thinking that out of our needs assessment, we're on the right track.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long has JITOLEZE been into existence?
Thank you, Lilian. I think this is, we've been there for close to very many years, but we're doing it while I was at school. So it was been like my kind of intervention how would I go back to the community, back to community?
Okay.
If I can just take you to the motivation of this, I don't know if that question is there.
It is.
So I shouldn't hand it now? Or I
No,
just
you can handle it.
Okay, so...
You can handle it, it's okay.
So we are two co-founders. I proved this a bit late, around 4, that we're going to be here, but I would have called him. But of course, he has some engagements. So Alex and I, the other founder is called Madolo Alex.
Okay.
He's actually our chairman of board. Alex and I hail from kind of marginalized community. Like, wantu vola bati utuka mu community nili anotukayo ugamba maybe they're going to kill me from here, these guys. So a lot of alcoholism, a lot of marijuana, a lot of these places have been earmarked in Busia, Sofia, Robaine, Marach, you know, like even
especially Mubavuka.
Yeah.
A lot of lost hope.
Yeah. So Alex grew up from officers' mess. You know, officers are messy. Officers' mess. I grew up from Marach. Marach is like a low dialect meaning bad. So if you look at these two communities, while we're going to school, some of our friends drop out of school, you know, to indulge into these kind of activities.
Okay.
Alex was staying with her dad. Then I was staying with a single mom. Then you look at the waves of having friends who have more privileges than you, drop out of school. You know, you guys are, you know, going struggling, you know, sleeping hungry, you know, putting on these uniform that have back stamps. Yeah, but we pushed on, right? We pushed on. So by the grace of the Lord, went to again a youth secondary school, universal secondary education.
Yeah.
You guys know what happens there, very many and everything. So, okay, he was 2 years ahead of me. So when I was a senior 4, he was doing a senior 6. So he had the chance after his senior 4, he came to Kampala. Yeah, did his A-level in Kampala. So I was still in Busia, the same school where he left me. So I wanted to do law, you know. So after senior 4, there was no money, so I sat for 1 year at home, then went to Busiho. I'm a teacher by profession. I've stopped teaching sometimes back anyway. So looking at the fact that after doing education, I went to Chambogo just cut the own soil. So then I got a scholarship to go to Africa Leadership University. Him also after A-level, he got a scholarship to go to Makerere. African Leadership University.
Is where exactly?
There's one in Mauritius, the one in Rwanda.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can see our life from this. I got a scholarship. He got a scholarship. Yeah. So when I was finishing Busiho for my PTC, primary teacher education, he was finishing his degree. Remember, I skipped 1 year, so he had all the 3 years.
3 years, yes.
Yeah, so he was finishing. So after that, when I just went to Chamago like this, God gave me a chance and I went to school. So I went back to school. So when we started is 2016. That's when I actually taught for the first year because I finished in 2015. So I taught the first year. My passion was, I thought I wanted to teach, like Nasome Savantu. But while I was teaching, I realized that I was into a cage. Like I go to class, wake up in the morning, go to class and take this. But then I realized that I think I want to talk to the community. So I even
not only the students at school.
Not only the students at school. Okay. So that was just like a small, more of career talk. Actually, we have career talk in most of our programming. So that's why I started, working out to see how we can build JITOLEZE. So I even had issues with my bosses up and down, going out and all this. We could have sessions. Even at that same school, I could write to them to talk to them.
to the students.
Yes. So of course, sometimes she was a mama. I could call her mama. She was a lead day teacher. So she could sometimes even give me transport for other team because I told her we're an organization now coming, right? So you say, okay, we can get for you some bottles so that then you can talk to our P6 and P7 on this day. Of course, that means that not everyone could be happy with a young guy, PT. If I was teaching in a government school, so I was a PTA teacher. Of course, getting some very small token of appreciation. So that's how we came up to, like, him being in that area, me being in this area, staying in the single parents and the whole friends of ours, the community. We said now, I think we're not there, but God has maybe blessed us, given us some knowledge, gotten the exposure. How can we come back and maybe
give some hope to these
other young people? Because us growing up, some people could say, Clyde, You see where you stay? Don't think of changing where you come from. Think of changing your family. So you have to go to school. Where they chase you to go at home, but you ogamba ndikuda encha. Paka somesa wagamba muleke asomenge. Muleke asomenge. Right? So that's just how we came up. That's how we started. Of course, so 2016 I was there, I was teaching, I was doing it. 2017, 2018 I came to Kampala, so I was fired from the job. Up and down, so they fired me. So I came to Kampala in February and taught until around July. Then I got the scholarship to go to Rwanda. So of course I could come back, sometimes do intervention, talk to community, do some skillings, and go back. Yeah, it was 4 years. So from 2018 to 4 years is when? Is this year.
This year, actually.
Yes, so that is it. But we have a lot of things we've done. I know you're going to ask. Among the 4 years, we think we've had a significant impact.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what exactly do you teach the youths and the women? What skills do you give them?
Wow. So basically, when I talked about transforming the mindset, one is we have soft skilling. Can we have these youths' capacities built? For example, when we go to a community and we think that the problem there is drug abuse, can we have sample people who have gone through that? Can we talk to just them and tell them, I come from this same family, but yes, you'll never see me drug, you'll never see me do this. Am I too special? No. Am I so church going? No. What about you? You might
What
be
makes you do that? What makes you take drugs? What makes you booze?
Yeah,
All that.
such things. Of course, we may not say leave the booze, but we could say let's limit the time that we take the booze, including prostitution. Number of friends went to start selling them. We are at the border. You guys hear a lot about the border. So what we said was, if we get these women whom we've talked to and we see them trying to change, because I've had conversations with the commercial sex workers. And most of the time when I pass, there's only new people who would call me. Sevo, they all know that, they even call me Musao. So my first thought, think that, guy, you fuck around with these people? I'm like, they're just my friends. They're just my friends. So after gathering them together, we ask them, what's the problem? Of course, some say, we came here. They have good, nice stories to listen to.
Each one of them has a story.
Each one of them has a story. So we're like, okay, so we have this art and crafts training, the making of beads, whatever. Can we have you and we look for some small money to do for you? Actually, if you go to our office, we have machines, tailoring machines. Who wants to do that, right? So we have been incapacitated that even if the materials we have are for our own training for other bigger group. So even after training you, for example, we're not going to use the machine that katigenda na yo waka otandike. So like tukwada magezi na itandike akao. Knowledge is expensive, right? Yeah, so what we can do is only the skilling, right? The other thing is we really want to do it fully, but we sometimes also think that we can't just spoon feed you. We give you the knowledge, then you go and look for, so long as you now have that. Yeah. So we do the tailoring, we do the art and craft, we do hairdressing.
So do you have like a center where you have all these things, like a facility to say that they come here, you teach them this is what you should do, you can do which one is much better for you, what do you think you can learn, and then they go and look for somewhere? How do you that kind of skilling? Yeah,
thank you. So we don't have a facility per se, like we have a skilling center. We really want to. Actually, when I was writing my capstone project for my final, because I did JITOLEZE Foundation as a case study for my capstone. Okay. So all research for my when I was doing global challenges, I focused in governance and youth empowerment. So all my focus was into JITOLEZE and what we're doing, because I went there when I started it, so I was just improving it, right? So we don't have a facility per se, but we how would they say, we partner with the local service providers. So for example, I have best tailors from Busia in my database, Bugiri, Ginger. So most time, if I think the one of Busia can't do what I want, then I can call the one of Bugiri to support in. So I use, it's kind of, the word keeps failing me, apprenticeship, something.
Apprenticeship.
That word. That word keeps, yeah. So what we do is, you are a tailor, yes, I have this 10 girls or 10 women who want that skill.
Learn that skill.
So my part is several, these are your people. Remember, you have children.
Yes.
So you might be successful, but these people will. So I'm going to look for you some token small, because I've never gotten any funding. Yes, I got luck to have some kind of partnership with World Vision 2019. Of course, I was still in Rwanda. Okay. They gave us some funding, but of course, it was more of activity-based, so it wasn't a sub-grant. So it was like, Clyde, you're going to engage like 20 facilitators as an organization.
And then
so this will
facilitate the facilitators.
Yes, I'm going to facilitate the facilitators. I'm going to give you food for the participants. These are the days I want you to do it. So you as an organization can also give in your input, right? If you're adding more days of which is something like that. So they helped us somehow from 2019, 2020, working with them. Yeah, so I'm like, guy, this is what I have for you. Because even in selection, they see Katinga, for example, my birthday, I'm going very far. In my birthday, I every time do give it back to community. If I have some money and my friend has, well, like, can we buy some flour for? Last year, we repaired some house for some elderly women. Like,
so much kolanga a project?
Yeah.
In one way or the other?
Yes, kind of that. So even my birthday was on Tuesday, 27th. So, but we are making it run up 5th October. So I already called down and I'm like, I got some 100 kilograms of flour. You guys can identify people which you think are most vulnerable. So my work is, okay, these are the people, okay, so let's grace this event when Mugabe into. That's what we do. So the civil law that so these are the community people. Every day for maybe 1 month. Yeah, so we just then watume. Keep sending them, right? What you do, let them see. So I accept that by 1 month, omwana abafunye ku magezi. Omwana abafunye mu skill, amanyi customer service, amanyi watandikamu, like real practical.
There are some basics, yes.
Yes. So that's why we say that we're trying to empower out of school young people and low income women with practical employable skills. Right? So why we're talking about mindset is we all know that most of our universities are the biggest contributors of youth unemployment. Right? And the quick question I'm going to ask all of us and maybe the viewer is that we already know the problem. Because in 2019, Minister of Gender and Labour Development said that 30,000 graduates are released by Uganda universities, which is just not 30. We have many universities in Uganda, more than that. And the country can only accommodate 9,000, which is also a lie. We all know that. That government only employs in a district like Jinja, maybe Busia, they only replace 1 who has died, 2 who have retired. Right?
Okay.
We have a position of 4 people, but 1,000 are applying. Right? So Tulikuchi.
We have 1 person occupying jobs of like 5.
Tulikuchi, right?
5 jobs.
Most of you people keep asking that where did the rain start beating us from? We all know where it started beating us from. Well, we are not bringing up solutions. So Zengo Muntu, one time, actually in 2016, Tiff is a personal friend. I stood for election. But I thought, remember I stood when I was at PTC. So I was finished PTC in December exam and I'd gone for nomination. So the elections were in 2016. Yeah. So that means I was doing double thing. So I thought that I could help the young people when I go to a leadership position.
But when you hold a leadership position.
But I'm like, but what about those guys who have been there? What have they done? So I didn't go through. Of course, what is it? But looking at the trend of people who are there, and I looked at what the municipal, because I wanted just to be a councillor at the municipal, what the municipal budget is, the limitation of a mayor, and this everything, what we call decentralization. Yet a para comes from up. Could have done much. That's why I came up with this. That the chance of Korango is just to contribute a little, just to add a brick, maybe give someone a smile.
About how you didn't have done all this, and that's
what I keep telling people, that if I'd gotten the 5 years, 2016, 2021, at the municipal, maybe I could not become what I am. I would not have gotten a scholarship, I would not have gotten maybe the awards, I would not be here. Most people have given me a number of talk shows. I've met a lot of people, right? And maybe the job that I'm doing, because my mentor was, I do consultancy with my previous university, so they're paying me to do for them some work. And what the focus was, my activism, my youth empowerment, and what I've emerged for the 5 years, 6 years running JITOLEZE, right? So perhaps if I'd been a councillor, I would be thinking about how can I go back to the seat or become a mayor, right? And all this, I look at all this, maybe in Kampala here, the budget is kind of huge. But locally,
in Kampala it's the same thing.
Councillor Funanga Mtwara that has deduction, sub-counter Funanga Mtwara that has deduction. Maybe people who can change much.
Except now you spend more in Kampala than you do the other side. So literally you find that
it's just
much better anyway. So I wanted to, before we went so far, to understand, you wanted to run for that councilship, which you did not go
which through. I ran to run, which I ran and didn't go through.
Which you didn't go through. But you have seen that people who hold those positions don't actually contribute much in these kind of issues and community growth. Did you try to, in your activism, in your whole business of empowerment of young people, did you try to engage these leaders and say, look, you hold this position, you're probably an LC5 or you're this and that, and this is our community. How can your office be of use to these people? Because I mean, at the end of the day, you represent them. Have you engaged them to see how better they can do?
I've before even being a leader by default, I've done leadership for the last 4 years. So I know very well stakeholder analysis, that you can't do anything without engaging every stakeholder. So in my project, the target audience or the key stakeholders are the young people, the women. But before that, they have religious leaders, we have local leadership, LOC1 up to 5, we have
cultural leaders.
We have cultural leaders. I'm telling you, if there's anyone watching me from Busia, I've met all these people, including their MP. But you know what? The issue is we fear a lot. You know, I fear driving in Kampala.
Why?
The jam and the confusion, the way borders are.
It's just too much.
Yeah. So I keep telling people that I don't have to ginger and they bring me. But recently I had a patient and I had to leave where I stayed because the guy my friend whom I just came with, who keeps helping me to drive around, had gone to PG for some interview. So I had to go and pick a friend who was sick, my girlfriend who was sick. But I drove, but I was like, oh, am I the one driving? Right. So the key thing that I'm saying is we fear a lot and we fear tempting. But Clyde, if I run for council, I'm going to fail. So we fear the negative. What about if you made it? What about, because in failing and passing there's a win, right?
Yeah.
There's something you're going to learn that's going to build you. So the thing is, with so much fear. So the point I was going to bring is, so muntu walaba nga Clyde alikola most of these things. Yeah, abalam the other side around that. If I'm an MP and shake Clyde's hand, Clyde is going to be very popular. Not knowing that I've made Clyde's name and JITOLEZE's name without his or her intervention. So what I need is, if a mayor is sitting on a table, can we have the youth budget, something adding to the youth budget? Can we know how these things are being spent? How can a mayor get involved with what we are doing? Because if I'm going to do any activity, I'll want a mayor or my council to come and just open it. Him or her give people hope. I'm even giving him or her a platform, right? But they're like, right? I've given concepts of youth empowerment to my MP 3 times meeting him, right? Like, Ndoza, we can do this. And this guy even made a skilling center, right? Number, you even have a center. Me, I'm paying an office that it's supporting your people who voted you, right? I'm paying it without funding, right? So you as a member of parliament, I'm going to get back to you, you know, Olimulunji, when I go through this time, I'll make you get international award, a lot of confusion. So you're like, you can't keep calling. Most of these guys know me. If I call them, Clyde, how are you? But
nothing really does.
They're not so much. Very few are supportive, right? Very few politicians are supportive. I don't know. In Kampala, Wano, I follow. I like so much. This guy was a Resegiri Nyakawa MP. I like what he was doing to his community, and I pray that one time he gets out of jail and does more.
The problem, when they hold leadership positions for the first time, bageza cock giving back to the community, but when they go back for the second time, they disappear.
I don't support. I don't think that is right, really, because sometimes give that community is hurt, right? Taking what belongs to you to give out. because a member of parliament saleeteberako kuyamba like going for burials bichibiti omuntu kujjayo n'awaayo kuba omutima so omuntu atane yange okiraba ng'olaba nga sente za spending nyingi.
But if you're in that position nali suubidde you would lobby for the people you're representing,
which is fine, yeah.
Naye ate abamu tebakikola.
Perhaps they don't know what they're supposed to do. You can look at the assessment of your members of parliament. Abamu have cash issues, abamu bribe judges to go through. It is not a political show, so.
It is not, but
it's not. But
the reason we are kind of linking it is literally in community development, like you said, it literally needs every stakeholder.
Yeah.
Every one person has a block to bring. There's just a brick you have to put on the whole puzzle, and so it becomes quite tiresome for one individual to do so much impact. Yeah, and usually it goes so far when there's some join of hands, and so when someone is in a position of leadership. Now, if an MP, for example, wants to a local donor, let's say, or a local fund and say, look, I have a skilling center, I'm skilling young women or young ladies or young people generally, and the best I just need is about, let's say, 10 or 20 million, and we can do this project at least to benefit about 1,000 youths.
Yeah.
It is easy for this, for example, an MP of the area to get to that kind
funding,
of
yeah.
More than you
personally.
As a CBO, a community-based organization. So you realize that it is all together. So the politics kind of becomes.
Just there. Just a second there. One friend one time asked me, just of recently, that he just called me and said, Clyde, I want to just have a cup of coffee with you. I'm like, I'm in Busia, please. We can. Are you free or whatever? I'm like, I can. So I went and met him. I'm like, I like what you're doing. Just wanted to buy for you a cup of coffee. Just to appreciate what you're doing for this community. Do you want to run for office? I'm like, no, not now. I'm not thought about that. Yeah, most people think I'm a politician, so I'm like, no, not now. I ran last time and I think this is my way now.
Things didn't work out.
This is my calling now. But he asked me, does the MP, our MP, know what you're doing? I'm like, yeah. Why hasn't he helped you? Are you not friends? I'm like, can I call him now? Like, we're friends, typically. So, what you're saying is right. These guys have potential. But maybe they have other priorities. Tobanenya, right?
Naye tubasuubira okubanga batukolera ffe ng'abantu ababalonda. That is what no, kye balina okukola. That is what they're supposed to do because
okay, yeah, that's finished.
Tubateekayo nga tulina ebintu bye twetaaga okubanga bikolwako. But they have that voice esobola okutuukirira abakulu okubagamba no, this is what is happening here, twetaaga okuyamba abavubuka in this way oba in the other, in that way. And if they don't do it, katuba tulina kunenyana.
We just have fear that, for example, if I come from Busia, you just we have a lot of people from Busia, but the fear is if I catch Clyde's hand, maybe in president's office, Clyde will have more fame. Clyde will come for MP. Clyde will win me.
See, that is the problem.
No,
they focus so much. They're not focusing that what is Clyde bringing on the table. What is he bringing on the table? So that's the only challenge that we are having. But by God's will, we are pushing on without them, right? And we're changing committee without them. And I want to tell you that I'm not going to say anyone, but we've done significant impact, more than guys that we elected into office.
And look at you wanted to be in office.
It was going to be a different story.
We would be here talking about it, but I want to ask the same question that gentleman asked. Do you intend to run for office in future? Leadership. Because I feel like you can probably do so much impact with a combination of both now. Because now you'll have at least a foundation and ground in the community, and then you will have the power to also lobby for that foundation to be impactful on community. Do you think you want to run in future?
You know, politics that we have nowadays is more politics of hate than substance.
Than principle, yeah.
Whatever the principle is that if Clyde declares now that 2026, I'm there. I'll need to start checking my food. I'll start checking what I eat.
The people you talk to.
People I talk to, where I eat from, like my life will now just be at stake. My graduation this year, the same question was asked to me. Maybe you should think about coming. Yeah, most of the people close to me think that Sobora kulidinga. But my quick question has been that abali basinga chi, right?
Salary, bakusinga salary.
One single, but the chamber singer like replacing them. What am I bringing? And I look at maybe our education background could. We would maybe could be having first degree, most of us, and wherever. So sina chamanyi chamber singer, but why are they not doing the right thing? Is it the structure, right? It's just like if I was going to talk about the unemployment of universities giving us graduate. What's the problem? How are you thinking? Are we asking a question that is it the curriculum itself? Is it the ministry, the people in the ministry? Is it the school setting, the structures, infrastructure itself? What is the problem?
Is it the students themselves?
The community, like, is it where they come from, the parents? So are we even having that discussion? Or we're just like, I want to twabira magezi, twabira bivuze, and again I'm second twabira, and again I'm elder twabira, and again I'm.
When they reach university, abatabira mu lectures, bamukolerako and all that.
Tie power for the ladies, men buy courseworks, and we're going on. If you have a good family, for example, if you have tribal, whatever.
If you have a gamba, no good.
But so we're leaving patients to die in hands of unqualified doctors. We're leaving students or pupils in the hands of teachers who got F9, right? But because they had support from other people, they pushed to be there. So we're leaving Rogers, who would have done this job better at the expense of giving someone who can't.
Who, because you know them or something.
Because you know them, or because by now that kickback jibajokuwa after some time.
So as a young person, when people talk about transition, I'm like, we could start change of president does not change Uganda's problem.
Yeah.
We shall have, because we shall even take 30 years to stabilize with the new president. But which discussions are we having, right? At the education sector, do they even have discussions? Like, because I was in Mayuge, I do benchmark so much. And we are like, people are still studying under trees.
In this generation?
In this generation. I want to get familiar with barefoot, right? They are still studying in these.
Batandika sawa satu okusoma ne bamaliriza sawa 10.
Still have a TV most times. Munasonyo.
Yeah.
Because Mauri agabeeramu tegansanyusa. Because you hear a rumor, kati chiwangambi rumor, that there is a package for these elites. And there are photos of Karamoja people dying. We have Ministry of Karamoja Affairs, and we have 10,000 Karamoja in the streets. Nogamba, why are these forgetting salary? I've run JITOLEZE for 6 years. I want to ambuze. Don't you want a nice car? Don't you want to maybe build a furnished house? St. Joseph and Antonio's take a community. But I would have been in the streets. My mom was selling alcohol in a very small house. Watu watugo wa nyumba ya mtwale vini watugo wa when I was in senior 3. So that thing makes me say that I have to make someone smile. I need to change someone's life. For us, we say that live a purposeful life, like let this world experience your existence. By the time you die, Bagamba, Clyde lived in this world.
Did his part. Okay, I think you have heard Clyde. I think you should also live a purposeful life. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a very short commercial break. When we come back, we want to get deep into what is it that, because we seem to understand that a lot of people are really in positions that have not seemed beneficial, especially to community growth. What is it that we need to do as people? What is the role of each of our individuals? Because there's also being me, who is down there, not doing anything, or even the person who's going through not willing to do anything, and we are going to blame it on someone else. So you want to understand what is the role of each of the stakeholders. So maybe that way collectively we can say, you are not doing your job. You are not doing your job. So at least we understand that every one person takes the blame and maybe they work out to do better than that. So we're going to go in a short commercial break. In the second hour, you should also be a part of the discussion. You can call in live. We're going to read the numbers for you, but they'll also be on your screen. And you can also write a comment or a question in a social media platform, which is our Facebook handle, the DigTalk TV and the Alternative Uganda. And we'll be able to read those questions and comments, and we'll address them just as much. Let's go in. We'll be back.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Hello, beautiful people. You're welcome to the Snap Talk with your girl Teddy Tenjo. Every Saturday, right from 6 to 7.
It is your responsibility. Omwana wo kubeera mu nyumba nga teyasuze bweru mbo bamubanja rent. Tukoye okulaba abalenzi abo abasajja abafunga. Butuufu tebabuulirirwa nga babulamu.
Towerabira nti tuli wano ku the Alternative Dig Talk. Mukwano gwange gwali topic kiri wandyagadde twogereko. Is it about family?
You can take your time. Look for a job, stabilize, men will come. Men will always be there, you will get the men. Bonna goyagala musajja yenna goyagala ojja mufuna.
Embaga ketuuke. Bino bintu byasenga na ojja bafuna.
Naye ng'oli asitudde ttu yakedde ku makyabbaga nti nsitudde ttu. Naye nga mu butuufu agambye nti akyali muto.
Is it outside family? Is it society? Oh, could it be relationships? Just be commenting a topic yonna gyandyagadde twogereko tujjako tujogera kwano ku the Alternative Dig Talk ku share enganzi the Snap Talk.
Migrant stakeholders run B22 emisinde gigenda okubeera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku Sande nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namave ne Shell Buloba. Yuagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibwako ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja. Yuera ne Migrant Workers Voice. Ne bitegekebwa. Sinat Advertising.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
ku ssaawa 2 kwakayitako eddakiika 6 zokka tukyagenda maaso the mighty drive ye program gy'oli mu kulaba nze omumbejja luwedde Lilian awamu ne munnange Rogers tuli habwe bwe tugenda maaso ne program eno okutuukira ddala ssaawa 3 ez'amakya g'olunaku luno olwaleero n'omugenyi waffe omukulu Odhiambo Clyde ono ye CEO wa JITOLEZE asoose n'atunnyonnyolako JITOLEZE yavaawa biki ebituufu bye bakola so tukyagenda maaso n'okuba nga ate tugayagaya mu nsonga zino tutunulira ensonga z'abavubuka awamu n'abakyala because foundation eno munnange ekola nnyo ku nsonga z'abavubuka awamu n'abakyala era nga bw'atunnyonnyodde mu ssaawa yaffe ate esuuse tuli mu ssaawa yaffe ey'okubiri so gwe agala okubeera part of the discussion osobola ogenda kutereevu ku the Alternative Uganda Facebook page mu comment section tekawo endowooza yo awamu ne ku Digitalk TV zino no pages ziri ku Facebook era nga ko tubeera live koka era nga gwe alina kyonna kyoteesa kyo wabula agenda butereeva mu comment section oba oteeka endowooza yo omukulu ono ajja kuba nga ate akuddamu bulungi so nga ate ne ku YouTube show eno munnange eteekebwayo era gwe ayagala okuba nga ogiwoomera oba ogyeyongera okuwulira biki omukulu ono byayogeddeko ku YouTube channel yaffe eya The Alternative Uganda ojja okuba nga ate munnange ogirabira gendayo subscribing ate onyige n'akaddaako nti buli bwewateekayo video oba show yonna naawe osobola okuba nga ate oginyumirwa tuli mu ssaawa yaffe ey'okubiri so gwe ayagala okuba nga otukubirako mu studios butereevu ojja kuyita ku namba z'essimu zino wammanga MTN eri 0789017145 0789017145 eyo no enamba ya MTN so nga ate Airtel eri 0759132310 0759132310 ezo no ze studio lines in case you want to call in live munnange osobola okuyita kweze namba ate anobeera part of the discussion ngenda kubanga ate nzirayo ew'omugenyi waffe omukulu Odhiambo back to you. So JITOLEZE is based in Busia. Do you have any branches in other districts or do you work with other organizations in other districts?
Quick answer is yes.
Okay.
Now the question is where? You're going to go to where? Just like I said, thank you. Just like I said that I was in Mayuge, I was in Bugiri, I've been to Jinja, right? We're looking at how do we scale up, right? Of course, if you train 10 people, you only think that 2 will end up only 2 will benefit. So 1, 2. My Bagambatia. Oluzungu, it's okay. Our schools, now we should talk about our institutions. If Matisha is watching then. But I was looking at the sample space. That's what I was looking for. We've been looking at, if we focus on a bigger sample space, then we also expect
much better results.
Bigger,
okay.
Right. So this year, around July, we thought about scaling up. We're thinking of opening a head office in Kampala very soon. But of course, Kampala also has its own politics, so...
Mochayagala kusigala Busia?
Busia, of course, that's always home, right?
Home is home.
Because we might be having people in Kampala, abagala oku benefiting okuva mu JITOLEZE. So, how do they access you? How do they, but baba tuseko bata because ogambe temunafuna offices in Kampala.
Yeah, sure. But we have now a partner that we're working with to say that we, even before legal registration, we're going to have to have a desk at his office then, so that we can going to build up. But the thing has been that we've always been so much mobile. We're not briefcase because we have an office, but we've always been mobile because those people of Jinja don't have an office in Jinja, but we have friends there who say, "Guy, we have this team and we have this community. Can you help us come and train them?"
Okay.
Of course, sometimes we can because getting fuel from Busia to Kampala is not very expensive, and getting some lunch from my team.
Okay.
Of course, sometimes we're also incapacitated. So to lunch, right? Like lunch, so you're not paying us, but there is some lunch that we're getting. So that, because this is my vision with Alex. So most of the people who work with us don't think they will also just fully buy the vision. So all of that, these guys are now being paid as consultants. So I think they're getting something big. So what about you bought maybe a new tie? They're like, oh, you know, see centers are face, you know. So they're thinking that maybe you can't get money elsewhere, right? But it has always been that if we put an effort of 20%, what does it deliver? So my team, the discussion has always been, let's put more. We apart from support the community, we also have to support ourselves, because we can't be vulnerable, right? Then reaching out the vulnerable, because right? So it has always been that. That's why you see Alex is working and is a co-founder. Yeah, he works at Stanbic. He was at Absa, he's not Stanbic. You know, I am working, but I still run JITOLEZE Foundation. So most of the funds we gather from our salaries, we can. Yes, we want to move our vision. That's why in the Nasiga Sanga Kola, one time I was discussing with the head of my institution before we graduated. Nemugamba want to go to graduate school. Nagamba, Clyde, you don't want to work, don't want to be employed. That's why Nasiga consultant, they asked, should we give you a full time? I'm like, I'm still thinking about it. But it's just about getting time for your vision. Because anyway you're working for someone's vision. Unless all of you came up together, right? So omuntu ina targets zayagala. So like, if you're putting in a lot of time in someone's vision, you're not putting in new ones then.
Okay.
Yes. So I want to balance, put 30% in my vision and maybe put 70% in someone's vision. So by the end, when I build much muscles, then I can now put 70% in my vision, then 30%. Because running this organization needs funds, right? And like, we don't have funds, we don't have helpers, we don't have what, we need to gather, right?
Okay.
Last year, my friends were saying, Clyde, you hate so much politicians. Why? Yet you look like one of them. But because a politician will get no musabiliza, atwalanga bali bagulira mwenge. No mugamba, man, we want money to support these people. We want you to link us. Ze wengena polisi mugamba njagala percent because nampa mtolo 10 tegenda kunyamba, right? Naja ku nagamba kati mwe njabagulira chai. Like, I want something tangible that group eno with people you've trained, at least ngenda gulako machines abantu basatu bamanyiwo,
ngenda gulako dryers ko kwaba bayiga hair dressing.
There's some sustainability to it.
That's it. But so last year guys convinced me. We were in a meeting and they're like, Clyde, we need to reach out these people. You want to give food to 400 people? You can't do it alone. This is what you brought, this is what you brought. Temara to Awandike, it's fine. Where you want me to go with you, I'll go with you. But most of these people go, no, you, let's go. So do you know that that thing happened when the parliament had just given money to MPs for buying a car?
For the 200.
Whatever. So the same day, an MP calls me at around 8. Hello, Clyde. Yes, how are you? I'm very sorry, you know, I was supposed to support you with maybe some money, but I'm not going to support you because hey, I'm like, guy, in my heart I wanted to fuse, but I'm like, no, I get a sense. But after that I'm like, if me, a local person who doesn't get a lot of monies at the end of the month, can go somewhere and contribute 100,000, how can an MP fail to even contribute 50,000 to buy some person flour? If you guys want to be there, you come and be there. Jagamba contributing. It's not about me. Ngamba JITOLEZE because you know, but these are the guys who have given us the money. See ati ngenda kuyenda ngambi nzawa wadi. So that's why I've batadanya like kubaliza. Sasa yokusabiliza nyo. You know, NGOs surviving begging. But in Africa, particularly Uganda, we can't have donors. We had the chance in 2017. World Vision Uganda, Busia, then Finland gave us a youth center. But you know that I wanted to call Tan Clark to be in this show and our man. You know that up now it's not in news. Ne awayo sente si atafuna sente nyo because by the time I was working with World Vision as a partner, they could tell me all this. Omuntu yagamba, hey, Manga Youth Center. And it was pastor, that pastor is on our board, it's called Pastor Jacob. Said he wanted to have a home for the sweet children. And so we can now go and try skilling them, talk to them, give them hope, maybe unite them back to their families. The youth center was brought. Of course, you know, World Vision to build for you, it should have partnership with government. It can't have a partnership with just a church. It was so government, Busia Municipal came in. Now, Pastor and I pushed so much to have a youth-led institution so that it can start working. We developed activities. I had several meetings, RDC, mayor, town clerk, community based. It was like, Clyde has his interest.
As an individual.
Like, which interest am I having? Yet I'm saying, let organization so and this organization come together in a coalition and take up the management of this place. Because we can't give a mayor or youth mayor or politician to have this place running. Because the politician begin the area. So you can, 2017 until now it's not operation. And World Vision was like, Clyde, help us. I'm like, I've done what I can. So I just don't know what the problem is. Now, what the point I was trying to say is, if a local person from Finland can net money to build a youth center in Uganda, yet person X afuna sente nyingi, but taina chiroze echo. That's why chengambe ati nze. Singamba de vota wakawempe. Segenya bade makalo, because I was hearing rumors ya Gola Moro Kasmani Hospital bichi until when he was arrested. Right? So if maybe he wasn't arrested by then, he would have done more things. Okay. So I want to go with donors with Tulinam Uganda. Our own donors. Can we have a culture of giving ourselves? Right? Omuntu wabera mulwade na maybe a fainting, we call the MP. What about you is calling them? Because if you kujagambe tufuneka maybe ambulance cheke mafuta gumuchino mtwale mdwale. Can't you do that? Right? So that's what JITOLEZE is trying to do. Can we support people without, having all these channels? Because that ambulance of government before it should be signed.
Are you a Rotarian?
Yes, I am.
It makes a lot of sense now. there's just a lot of things to relate. I saw your
well, I have 2 pins. I didn't want to put for the one of Uganda. It could so much look political. So.
No.
Because I have this of Kenya. So
I have a feeling that actually carries more value, because at least we've seen Rotary foundations do much better than a lot of people have done themselves. But I wanted to understand a bigger picture. Now, just more than Busia and JITOLEZE and the business you do down there. As a youth constituency, we have young people, the population being more than 70% of the population being young people. Yeah, and we seem to face literally the same common problem. You might be in Busia, and probably their problem is maybe drinking or something. But in another district, just across the other side, it's literally facing the same thing. So how do you think we can craft an approach that can benefit all without doing this thing of one shoe fits all, because that seems to have been the problem that we have faced. Most of the times the government will say, young people, we are going to do this and that, and they want the same thing to work for someone in Gulu, to work for someone in Hoima, to work for someone in Chisoro. And their issues are literally always different, just relatable. The common thing is they are poor. Yeah? What do you think we can do as a collective to make sure that we counter that kind of problem?
Thank you very much, Rogers. I wrote an article. Those guys who just Clyde, find an article. It was the impact of youth unemployment, something. Forgetting it was some. I've written a number of articles. I'm trying to relate which one had that same approach. But I was trying to critique. Before I came, I was following up, and I was hearing when you're talking about the program that our government has had since then. Gagawale, youth livelihood,
yes.
But I was critiquing most of those approaches, and including yoga and whatever.
Now we have Parish development model.
You don't seem to have a lot of faith in that, but please
yeah. But it's funny that we are putting more focus on giving, like the fish, than training people. That's why I started by asking that. if we know the problem, then why are we not solving it? Right? Why did youth would fail? Because money could come, groups mwegate, tuawe sente. Now, this what happens. This what happens for our two countries. Let me give an example of Rwanda and Uganda. That, my God, I'm being now very political.
You have to be. Everything
now,
is political.
Now this, like I said, don't hear TV, but this is what I've read, that when President Kagame gets the loans, right? I know he has zero tolerance to corruption.
Yes.
Sente zona zicheka kati lino eri yazze twasadde energy. So that there's no power that, because he is attracting investors. Agamba ati, I want to make this the #1 hub. That's why they call it fast growing in Africa.
Yeah.
So again, when I invest in energy, when these tourists come, because tourists come with their lines, so they want Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi has to work when there is power. So I'll make sure that
everywhere there's power.
There's power. Like full money is put to power. Right? When money comes, this one is going to go to tourism. How do you build standard, infrastructure, roads and whatever? And how do you make ourselves smart? And how does the people from the airport welcome you to the country? Now, for us, when we get money, we even don't know the content of the contract. Two is that money is, I don't know.
There is a way it disappears.
It disappears right from how it is gotten, how it goes to Bank of Uganda, how it comes to Ministry of Finance.
If it goes to Bank of Uganda anyway. If it goes at all.
Yeah. Whatever. So by the time it reaches down here,
to the common person.
Now that's the Youth Livelihood Program, how it was running. That tugenda kwa milioni 10. Usaine milioni 10. Nengo manyo usaine milioni 10. Nengo ufuna milioni 5. And this group has to pay the 10 million.
Yeah.
Now, remember, this group does not have the right skill to do the venture that they said they're going to do. So first of all, they don't have the capacity to do that business. So by then you see, chairman, you have a sentence because now I am frustrated with the system. Time much again as concerned. So I made an approach, sharing with my town clerk. Because this is any motor once, Simani going to Chokirako. By the first reached my former minister, Gabriel Opio, he's still alive, right? I reached Gabriel Opio, I reached the late Agra Award, right? When I started meeting them, they're saying, guy, I got mentorship again. No, I'm meeting this guy to give me the right network, because we just need the network. Right? So, Gabriel Yagamba, ngenda kuwa namba ya simanyi ani ogende. But the way you start calling someone, people need Rogers, meet Lillian. Right? Lillian is so and so is doing so and so. I want you to support. Gamba simanyi avera wa office wa ya youth affairs nebigana. That's around 2018. Now 2018? Yeah, 2018. So after it began, then I looked for the late Agri. He embraced our idea. He embraced our idea. But now kickstarting it was the problem. That I want to take you. This idea, if I take it to the president, I get that you are. But I'm fearing if I take the president, we just get politics. Again, if you like the idea, if our decisions go to politics, take us there, right? Because by the end, we want this vision to run. We need the money. Any person, even if you give us one coin, right?
Okay.
So basically, I just don't know why these approaches are failing. But why they are failing is because we're giving people who don't have the skills. So I was saying that I wrote a concept to the town clerk, Nemugamba, help me. Before you give these groups money, they can have a training at a free cost. So I'm going to help in the identification. Now I'm going to gaba mugrupu zini. So first time I said, if you have ready money now, I've trained already these people in tailoring. They know how to tailor. So if you're considering anyone for tailoring money, I would recommend these people. Hairdressing body one. And also in the future, I'll help you train before you give money. Now he was so, he took it and was like, this is so good idea, this is so good idea. Then you tell me, before we could even commence. Yoga. netuyimba emyoga, they even put me in some exhibition of myoga, nalabanga bintu tebigenda.
I know, right. Right now we have Parish development model. President yesterday we had Gambia.
Men has been this
benefit is babadde bayitirivu. Yeah.
Now, Parish model, I liked the concept of agriculture. Circular agriculture, by train women in mushroom growing. I train women and local community in urban gardening. So I liked the idea. Ningamba, Nagam Municipal, I'm going to give my services to all. Actually, I trained the whole of Busia for household cluster. There are groups that were formed. I moved the whole of Busia. Now the problem was that I would hear that the guy I was working with was sending a lot of money for the same training. Zentwala timu yangu traininga watu gamba wakawajo just like 10,000 for maybe border. Nenga mpulira that this guy assigned a lot of monies. I'm like, so they're using me, right? So this skill is useless. Yes, I want to help, but people are like, it's me eating money with him, right? So I'm like, so even recently the CDO called me, like, we had you. Yes, I was trying to support to train mushroom urban gardening, color vegetables, poultry keeping, because that's what the concept of Parish model. But I think we are having we're incapacitated by the human resource because some of our staff have some go to school, so we can't continue doing this. But in case you guys want professional consultancy, we can provide, right? Because we want to, if municipal is doing something and we're doing something and a partnership, let's all be aligned, right? Apart from us supporting community, there's also a life to live, right? We have these people moving. There's a lot of things happening, paying rent, paying office, moving here and there, the skill, because we shall need to research and everything. So we just need to be aligned. But I've realized that people will like you, Clyde, they will like Clyde so much when I'm so much doing for free when someone is benefiting, right? But me, if most of those resources put in the community, I would so much support. Right? But if it is, then I felt like I'm being used, and it's so much my friend. And I'm sure he's watching. He's so my friend.
The commission should have reached.
Yes.
Bobado was submissions, though. You talked a lot about the leaders, about what they're supposed to do. But we are having youth organizations. Kompindoza, in every district, we have a youth organization. They all want to address the issue of unemployment and everything that surrounds the youths. But we're still having the same issues. We are still having the same problems. What is
now, there's politics everywhere. Politics in offices, politics in churches, politics in culture, whatever. Politics everywhere. So Clyde didn't come to, apart from changing myself and branding, I didn't come to survive from JITOLEZE, right? And so there's a difference between JITOLEZE Foundation and any other organization. There's somebody wakes up and the result is, I'm going to push for this organization, no matter what, no matter killing someone, I want to get funding and get it. Right? So literally his energies are put in the money that he's going to get, right? So some person like that, politics, sente zote zida mu community. He has spent sleepless nights. So 100% he puts back 10%. Is that problem solved?
It's indifferent.
The way I told you, example Rwanda and Uganda. Right? So sente ndaliteka ko education ka 10% taka mu health. So health oba inachizibu cha mukademeka tulone buy one bed.
Yeah.
Sente za COVID zagenda.
Zinengirije zagwawo nga tetuzitegedde.
Twawira ko prime minister ya contact navula mukwawo. We are coming on sente ziliyo. So our priorities are wanting as a nation. We need to rethink as the next generation. The problem is when you start speaking like this, then you have quotes and you start following you up. But the thing is, in real countries, when you start when you're speaking things that if you bring something on table, they want to pick the idea up.
This is a real country, just as bad practice. But I just let me ask you, when you are talking about the youth, with the problem you sounded like the problem is not that the money is not there. The money is there. The problem is the skill and the knowledge and the information. Who are the stakeholders in these things? Who should we reach out to? Because now, let's say the government has money. And when the Mioga was disbursed, a lot of money, there was a lot of swindling, a lot of people ate a lot of money, there was a lot of embezzlement. So that means the money was actually there for what it was designated to do, but did not do because of particular individuals. But we want now to know if there is money. Well, probably, let's say we are now going to focus on governance to make sure that people put resources where they're supposed to go. Who are the concerned people to say that your responsibility is this, your responsibility is this, and we shall hold each one of these accountable?
Last time, you know, my phone, I put the phonics, that news capture. Chup. So we end up okay. So narabanga. Okay, before even I go to what I saw, I was in a WhatsApp group, and some cow of certain district wrote to the civil servants, there will not be delayed payment. Yeah, you guys heard of that from us?
Yes.
Then I saw that government of Uganda is paying 205 billion to DRC Congo yes, for causing
reparations for the whole saga.
Our needs as a country is just one thing. Now we are failing people giving us service to a country, and we are giving aid to other countries, right? Giving aid is not a problem. If a politician was in this table or this chair, yani kugambye mbo, we are Malaysia, we are Korea, we're the same. We even gave sometimes aid to Malaysia. The countries like, you know, South Korea, North Korea before they, and Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, we're the same category. But what went wrong, right? So the problem is, and these guys went to school, and they will tell you went to Dar es Salaam, went to USA, they have networked. So nongamba chizibu chiriwa. Zenkati nganze local person avabusia. You can't expect to know what's happening in government. These are just theories that we're talking about, right? But I think I keep moving around the streets and I see presidential initiative on girl, child. That thing has not started today. But has the president given maybe a farm to do for him? Real farm. I mean, when we talk about bidding or whatever, there's a way tenders are given. So, but I mean, real consultancy farm, not giving it to Lillian because Lillian knows Rogers, whatever. To do what is sustainability plan for this project after we've skilled the girls. What next? You know, in 2007, 2728 around there, 29. It started from 2789. We're sending teachers to Rwanda, right? English teachers.
To teach Rwanda.
Okusomesa Rwanda. No many education system yao ilitu itako.
Ilitu itako ba yatu itako. It is far.
Bale tagala gwa bachogera.
Yatu itako
Now what's the problem? Right? The problem is how we just manage things, because omuntu omusasula mtwala 5 mlembe jibu. You don't expect that person to deliver, right? Aba ine bizibu bi aga mwana na asome ku musomero ya bay gawe ngamba ati nagenda mu UP USA, then I gave a shot to Chambogo, so mbasagala bana ngene musomero zino, then I went to ALU says the Harvard of Africa, so majala mwana ngene musomero singa yeah ALU. Now ALU pays $3,000 now I want my child to go to a school better than $3,000 yearly. Now that means I have to work hard. So togenda kumpa mtu atano kola because ijakola chi. See that now. Now, if you're paying a doctor that money that you know that they give doctors have been striking. So when patients come, you blame doctors that they're not giving you service. Yes. Yet, even the person who taught them was underpaid. So now I underqualified. So tamanyi vya customer service are disgruntled and no kicks of a dying horse. I just yao, right? Medicine tell you muzabuze oba ate sente muzikola budget, right? Ate nebawulira, it's just like the way you guys pay tax. We all pay tax. The way I'm saying I'm not part of you. Just like the way we pay tax. Not about what the tax is doing. No, remember. Why should I even continue paying? Tax. Nemukola VPN. Someone was selling that. Me, I don't buy data. Because send the data at SARS, Ugula data, then tax is already there. Ugula fuel, already tax is there. But what is this tax doing? Right? I expect to see a good road network. I expect to see health facilities changing, good schools, you know, change of salaries, you know. But when you hear that somebody is getting 200
local government waliwo n'abafuna 120,000.
Tuli kuchi. Town clerk managing resources inafuna bukadde bubiri. Right? Of course ogera nga avuga hama n'ogamba. So it is, you know, hama imeva ku bukadde bubiri. But again, what do you expect somebody to do? Right? So we are the cause of our problems. And what are going to gamba now? This I'm going to be very political. What are going to gamba kati? If M can lead like K, well, because I see that guy is called a dictator, but no one has proven that democracy is the best working government, right? So if somebody can lead like a government, because this country needs someone who says zero tolerance to corruption, right? Who says we're going to see ways of, you know, paying our salaries well. And salaries well, you have to attract investors well. Waje wazimbe wano. The policy of Rwanda is that any donor who comes, 60% will staffs will be locals. Is that the same as Uganda?
It's a different story.
I don't think we even have a percentage. What is left is what we do. We go with. Please come work. If there is something left for us to do, we shall do.
But how will that happen if I'm going to be in negotiation with my girlfriend? What do I do? I'm limiting my knowledge because I know the knowledge of my girlfriend and mine. Truly are limited. That's the problem. Whatever negotiators wali side wali kuandika, whatever side ya Uganda wali kuandika. So tuli kuchi. Tuogeta wali kuandika. That's the thing.
Does JITOLEZE do follow-up Kubantu training?
We had lost now, Mulamu. We're going to politics. Thank you for bringing us back. Yeah, we do follow up. We do follow up, and we even document success stories. That's why I said we can. I think I wanted to share it with but I just forgot to share it with him. It's always good. I wanted to share it with him. Yeah, but we follow up and see how are they doing. Are they still on track? We give them some guidance, right? Whatever we can, if it's a support that is beyond our reach, we give out. But just like we said, we don't give a lot, right? Some of these trainings we just actually, like I said, always gave us some money. Maybe a
You'll be the
like
middleman.
Good. So last time we had planned even for leadership conference. We're calling it Entrepreneur Emerging Challenge, where we're going to have some top winners of it, get some awards and seed capital and, you know, training and funding. But we had sponsors who had promised some money, but it didn't come up. So it was supposed to be in late October, 29th. We already know October is coming and we don't still have funds, so we don't want to have kwara, because we've been having youth summits where we just meet participants, talk to them, you know, bring businessmen, talk to them, and they go away.
Okay.
And I think this has always been happening so far. So we need to bring some uniqueness. What are we adding on the table? So we wanted to have a challenge that we can, you know, give some support, follow up, and, you know, see that a youth who has come and is doing something they've booked up, they've come up with some business idea, can get something, and we follow up them with maybe mentorship for maybe 6 months. So they can remain there. But if we still do the summits that we've been doing, that we call them and talk to them, it will just be like the Ugandan user story, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
How has it been? How has the journey been, especially when it comes to working with youths or young people? because most of the times batuleboyinga okuba nti we are big-headed, we don't want to listen. You hear some people saying working with young people is very hard or it's very difficult. So we would like to hear from you. How has the journey been, especially when it comes to working with young people and women? Because I believe the women that you guys give skills are also young women, because you also talked about the school dropouts, and we've had girls dropping out of school because of certain issues. So how has the journey been? We also want to hear the challenges you faced through the journey of 6 years.
Journey has been very tough. Journey has been very tough. You spend sleepless nights writing a concept, you believe you've done your all, then you hear you're unsuccessful. This is not what you can continue. You email us, we can't give you feedback. A lot. You wake up, do this, and you don't get it. Okay. You wake up another day and you're like, mirese bita me, right? And people who you're struggling for maybe are not even appreciative. I don't even see what you're doing. One time I was going to a community, I had mobilized money for, I was going to 250 people. I'd gotten their breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days. And I'd gotten for them real facilitators, like of the best that I think were the best for the training content that we had planned for. But the issue was, where is our allowance, right? The question of allowance, no, I got kunyiga. Does even this guy know how I've struggled to get this money for this training, right? So, maybe the young people has been our same experience. We've learned a lot. Of course, there are a lot of some wanting even to fight with you, some hailing at you. But we struggled. Like now, what I did was, okay, what's the problem? Can I make these people that when I come, for example, when I send trainers to come, they can still hold, but when they see me around, they'll have some respect. So I said, so I'm first of all going to do my branding, personal branding. That if there's a training and they see Clyde in the house, they will listen. Because what am I bringing to them? Because because sometimes these are people you've been with. So can we have that question of kweraga sorted first? So one thing is, when I'm with them, I dress like them. We eat the same food, but I tell them, this is the direction you're supposed to follow. So if you're listening, you're with me. If you're not listening, you're not with me. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, but if you need support, because the question, the real sense was always that every time I'm in Kampala, I have wherever you move. Clyde, breakfast, Clyde, vitana, Clyde, lukumi. So, akusaba lukumi vitana was a sentence tono. But the more you move it, yeah. So I'm like, gwena kugamba kwe skill training ogana. Don't ask. Right? There's a time that there's a time my last year at Rwanda, I even wanted to my friend asked me, but how are you trying to break the chain? Right? You were this, you're now trying to do this, and whatever you've changed. What? Nimgamba, everything I've gotten it from JITOLEZE. Right? People have met, have maybe branded me, have liked me. Some just call me and say, Clyde, just mtwala video zirienga gwe. So when I'm going to shave my hair, I'm going maybe to buy a new suit and such things. So when they reach somebody's money, but I've changed. I told my friend that I want to give JITOLEZE to run it for 1 year. See, whatever you get, whatever, I'm going to give my networks and you do it. I told her come office nako bili na nkubira masimu tu njagala lunch, njagala bichi. Ngamba ngabera mu office nkubira ninga njagala lunch. Bea ninga niba tambula muko neneyiya nesiga. So I'm not left for you as an employee, but I got you owning a very yo. So struggle the way I struggle, right?
Oh, how it feels.
Yeah, how it feels. Yeah. So that's how it always is. Youths always want this money is jamangu very fast, right?
Bagalanyo soft landing.
Soft landing, which is not sustainable, right? When I was seeing my friends going to betting by then, when I was in O level, like said the body was funanga. Why ambala bulungi ku secondary. So sometimes when they come until they left school, Katsa's no whatever, right? With the payment that betting centers are still paying them. No labanga. they did a mistake. If they try to, you sleep hungry but you go to school. Like, I want to teach my young people, I keep talking to them, can we persist? Can we just be focused? Do we know what we want anyway? So if we know what we want, then we shall go for it, right? Because when I'm talking about Kayega days, mwana ngama jakuwa doctor. Sikenda kugada to be a doctor in Uganda. What over msomesa. I will still support you, go for that dream. But how do you be innovative to overcome all these challenges? What sacrifices will take you to be there? So Jakula got these are sacrifices that will take you to be there. But so long as you know you're going to struggle and reach there.
Would you look at your achievement as there has been some mindset change? Has there been? Have you registered? Like you can see and say, when if I've trained, let's say 50 of them, at least about 30 or so feel like there's more to life than just waking up and going to the bar and doing this and that.
So I have two young people who went to Uganda Police Force, right? One was carrying sacks alongside the border. Kusula Makutia Gunia, Alim Police Kati is a government servant, right? This one had finished teaching, he was a teacher, but of course, from government. So he was still hustling in the 100,000 private school. So those are two, they were in my boxing club, right? From the tailoring, we have guys who are now opened up the tailoring centers, right? Hairdressing, the guys opened theirs, but some are employed because they have the skill, right? So yeah, we have some people call us that we have a job. Out of the youth summits, some guy called me that National Water, he was always in youth politics. Nemugamba, I don't feel, yes, I see you, because I would hear him, you know, every time calling now, local radio, Zegundi, Gundi, Bichi. So he went to Uganda Water, but now he's the personal assistant of MP of the area, because that is another constituency in Busia. So yeah, we count even one like on our Facebook page, we celebrate it, right? So I think, yeah, they have been there because we have people we can.
How did you handle the whole COVID situation?
Oh, wow.
That period.
Wow.
With those vulnerable, desperate young people.
And that's why we brought in, because we have so much been into skilling than giving. And that's why we developed the concept of giving back, because of most of our beneficiaries lacked what to eat, what to dress. So we're like, we can give this kind of COVID response. But also, that's where we got in the biggest trainees that we've ever had since our inception. Because that's the time we got a number of dollars to do intervention during COVID. And the question with the RDC was, should you leave these young people to get pregnant? Just like Museveni says that getting pregnant is not, like he had it, at least they are not dead. So should we leave them get pregnant? Should we leave them just... So we gathered them and said, we're going to allow, in case of anything, we shall accept this to be quarantined. LOC signed, mayor signed, and they accepted, and we did a 2 months training of 300 young people during COVID. We also had a proposal of community schooling. Like, since I had the teaching background and I was home, I'm like, I have friends who are teachers, and I want to prioritize I want to go to every parish and look for teachers who are there, and I want to give them cherio. Now, the problem was that it needed the RDC to sign on that concept, because all local leaders had signed, but because, you know, he was the head of COVID. So he delayed to sign. It took like 2 months for him to sign. And I think then after 1 month and a half, I had Dr. Jen launching it somewhere. And that was already now a taken idea. So no one could fund us for that. So most people say, how did community schooling come in? Was it your idea or you? I said, yeah, because everything we're doing now, somebody has done it somewhere. Either where papers were running, somebody told a friend, then again, and the one that they launched didn't even kick off. So I did get the funding for it, and yeah, but that's how we had planned to handle COVID. Have every village with the teachers there train. That's how P1, P2, P3. Now, we had also said that now during that time of where there was radios teaching and TV, we bring, if we have a meeting place, let there be TVs, let there be social distancing, and let people learn with the guidance of a professional teacher. These were just ideas. And the person who was supporting us to the idea was a local LOC1. That LOC1, that's the only politician I saw that had vision. Yeah, LOC1, but he was so supportive. The guy died in December 2020. Until now, he was on our board. We have not replaced him because we are like, we can't get someone like him. Guy agamba ati mugenda kwa vision temina moroka. I think we have to make an impression. Ngenda avuga ku mafuta gange. Na wavuga. Guy agamba chi to mwina end of year party. What's your budget? 300,000. I'm going to give it the whole money. I'm going to give you 200. Mnonye 100. He was so yali musajja. Until now I still feel him. Everyone
dies.
Yeah. So that's how we handled COVID. We did some training, we did some, talking to the community. I think God just helped us. None of the people we trained got COVID, including us, the trainers. God so much helped us. Not even being contact. But of course, sometimes we surfaced in the district meeting, COVID task force. The JITOLEZE is what? Can we close them? But we harmonized that. I told them we're always free. One time, because not everyone knew what we were doing. And of course I told you, I didn't say that, but you just like, you can't be a prophet in your community. So I made all those trainings. There were people who were posing. So police could come. They called me, they have arrested all your people. They have gone to police. You go there and you're like, guy, we have a letter. And why did this guy ask for a letter? But, they called us that you're doing illegal, what? They bring us back. The good thing, the OC of Busia by that time, CID was a personal friend. So we are JITOLEZE nanga Clyde affordable we right? I think she was transferred to Kampala. One time gave her a call. But the other people who let us, survive. Some people wanted us to rot in prison, that we're doing illegal and they bring in politics and whatever. But yeah, we just think that we're doing small by small. We are not doing a lot of things, but I'm thinking that these small things put together can change the world, can make a difference.
I think that is a point to note. That you see, most of the times you want to do grand. You want, if something should begin, you need so much to begin. And we forget that it's usually the small efforts that add up to the big picture. But I think we are literally running out of time. I'm going to ask you to just give us your parting shots and where you see JITOLEZE in future. What plans do you have for them? You've talked about expansion. How do you see that coming through? Yeah.
I see the future being bright. I believe that everyone has potential, or everyone's potential can be unleashed. Buli muntu asobola kubeera a great person. Last time I saw some startups and funds released my name on great people list, something. But Uganda, I'm idiot here, When I got the scholarship to go to Africa Leisure University, my name appeared in Kenya. Like the nation media Kenya released my name, but here no one. I thought when we were there, I thought when I come to the airport they'll bring me the flag. So it's fine. So my name came up in the great people list. I don't know why, but Sakura Bulunji. Siri Bulunji. I come from a humble background, I'm very humble. But I think God has worked on us, right? There's something that we're trying also to do for community. And I believe that everyone can. I don't pray so much. Yeah, yes, I pray. What about those guys who overpray? They can do it, right? It's just a matter of knowing what you.
So pray.
No, I'm saying if I don't pray so much, but I'm seeing my life changing. What about those who pray so much? They can, So everyone can become great. They just need mentorship. Someone.
They need that person to give them direction.
But you can only give direction if you also want the direction.
Yeah.
So there's a role to play on the receiver and the giver.
So yes, in the next years I want to open up a skilling center. Right? Even if it will be buying land on my personal money, I buy land and construct some classroom as a skilling center. I want to just see that graduates, we have graduates who can't write a professional email. Right?
Yeah.
Now I work for ALU as a consultant. So
even writing a CV is a problem.
Now that's where I was going to. how would we support our graduates now know how to go for interviews and everything? Because interview is not about question they ask you passing. It's about showing that you can do the job, right? And
how different are you from the rest of the people who have applied?
So I want to see that I can have a center where I can always call graduates just to train them, maybe have short courses, even if it is 1 month, where they come in the afternoon for just a discussion. We build their confidence. We're in 21st century. We're in the 21st century. So things are running very fast.
Yeah.
The guesstimation is by 2030, Africa will have the largest workforce in the entire continent. So how are they to do that? By still buying exams, doing this or what? We have to be set for that, right? The question that, just like yesterday I was telling a friend that even a permanent secretary or a staff of the ministry could give the speech that the president did. Because the president should be thinking a very bigger picture for the country. How are we struggling to elevate, education system, training institutions? How are we looking at districts like Mayuge that still land under trees? How are we looking at the roads network? How are we fighting corruption? How make sure that salaries the salary system is handled? Most of those things, right? But when he gives us 2 hours giving that speech, I'm like, So that's my thing as a young person.
Okay.
Making the future bright needs all of us.
Yeah.
All of us, and we all have part to play. Even if it's just a brick. If you see a neighbor sleeping hungry, don't come to TV and say that I gave so and so what to eat. Just do your best. Just do what you can. We can all make this Uganda a better place for everyone.
We would like to end this show on a lighter note. So, twagala tuwulire what you enjoy doing in your free time. If you're not doing JITOLEZE work or what oli mukulu bingira JITOLEZE, if you're not doing anything, it's related to empowering and skilling young people. So what do you do during your free time?
Do I even have a free time? Anyway, I watch movies. I watch movies a lot.
Okay.
I think the two of you are going to be friends.
She also watches.
You too.
I think you have a common.
You too.
I watch movies, but movies that I watch, I'm just watching a movie because that's time I'm wasting. But what do I get from that movie? What does it build to me? Because whatever is happening in the movie is something that happened somewhere, whether it is fiction or non-fiction, right? But how do we bring those theories to our local setting here, and how can we make it work? So they said I was Kuba Bank because he get a Kuba Bank, right? Now we know how do politicians in other countries treat their citizens.
Yeah.
How does the opposition in other countries behave, and how does the ruling government behave, right? Apart from studying psychology and human behavior, coming back to humanity, how should we work out things as people? How do I make sure that when I'm climbing, I don't step in Rogers to remain down? How do we go together? Something was moving as a meme that when the whole team is winning, because we are all winning. So how do we all win, right? So the quick question for every politician could be, how are your citizens winning? A quick question for every voter is, how is a fellow voter winning, right? Many politicians are going to number MP because I was when I was MP. Every time I meet the PA of my MP Mugamba mazima. Tomugamba bulungi mbukusigala ngo kyamukolera. Mugamba mazima. Mugamba kino kibi aja kirongoosa. That's the world I want to be in, where bad is bad and good
is good.
There is no gray area.
Thank you so much, Mr. Odhiambo. Namwe mwena abadde batulaba from the start okutuuka wano tugenda okubanga tuwunzikirawo olunaku lwaleero. I think bataddeyo comments abasinga babadde beebaza. Kuliko Haula Bint Abdul agamba kwa linyo Onyai Jimmy agamba streaming live from Nebi District. Thank you so much Onyai. King Rosem naye kwa linyo ensonga agenda maaso n'okubanga aziraba. Jemix Pro agamba we need such discussions here to change our country. Thank you so much Jemix Pro. Mokose Arnold Anthony agamba how I wish the government can aid, make partnerships and cooperations with such organizations rather than embezzling resources by politicians. Thank you JITOLEZE. Thank you. Push harder please towards changing mindset and empowering the vulnerables. Innocent Ainebyo, thank you so much for watching. Agamba alikulaba from Lwengo district. I think tugenda kubanga tuwunzikira wano olunaku olwaleero ku ssaawa 11 ez'akawungezi diaspora link togesebwa n'omukulu Nixon Praise Segawa bagenda kubavugera ku nsonga ate ez'enjawulo. Olunaku olw'enkya the Mighty Drive ejja kweyongerayo ate nga omukulu Mukose Arnold Anthony n'omukyala Farida Bikobere bajja kubaawo n'omulangira Nakibinge Kimbogwe nga bataanya ensonga ate ez'enjawulo. Regulo tujja kubaayo ne Voltage nange kamwa koogera omumbejja luwedde Lilian ku nsonga era ez'enjawulo ezotasaanidde kubanga osobwa. Ku lunaku olw'omukaaga Interface Show ne Richard Kano Dr. Kiza Besije munnange togesebwa ku ssaawa 4 ez'okumakya so nga ate ssaawa 12 ez'akawungezi the Snap Talk omukyala Teddy Tenjo Nabukera ajja kubanga ate agikutuusako kambagaliza okubeera obulungi tusisenkana omulundi ogujja mweraba.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.